All right. We have no public hearings, no reports of committee, no department reports. Appointments. Julio Marscal. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
And Kate Marscal wish to be appointed to Envision Berwick for a 2-year term. This is not a recap.
No, this is an initial, correct?
No, it's an initial.
Yep. No, please come up. Tell us about yourself and why you want to join Envision Berwick.
My name is Julio Mariscal. I've been here for about 3 years now. Moved up from Ohio. My wife and I have 4 kids in the Noble system. She's a school nurse. I coach basketball. Looks like probably girls lacrosse also this coming season. I met up with Jeremy and all the rest of the group here of Envision Berwick. I won't go through everybody, but reached out to them when we moved here, and I'm like, hey, we want to get involved in the community. We know what our communities have done back home. We want to help this community grow. We know what it can be, so here we are.
Sure. Are there any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Can we do this as a joint motion, Patty, or do you need them separately?
Is Kate here?
She should be walking in.
Okay. Separate, please.
I'll make a motion to appoint Julio Mariscal to a 2-year term to Envision Berwick.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate
And yes, Envision Berwick is the absolute best way to get involved with the community as a base level start. If you don't want to do the elected route, it's a great way to get involved that way. Please.
They have
100%.
many different options, too.
Yeah. Bird for a Lifetime, community gardens, those are all great places. Are you Kate?
I am sorry. My
No.
brother's in town. I had to drop him off first.
No worries. Please tell us about yourself and why you want to join Envision Berwick.
So my name is Kate Mariscal, and I am the nurse at Knowlton Elementary. We have 4 kids, and I want to join because I want to make progress and change and be part of it as it happens, and just be a hand in the town and as it changes and grows. And yeah.
Any specific changes you want to make?
I would love to see downtown Berwick more vibrant. I would like to see more people on the streets, and just being part of the community and events that happen downtown, and everyone kind of getting together more, which I think is happening, and it's on its way, and it's just really exciting that it's getting there. Sorry, my glasses keep fogging up. But I feel that there's a lot of passion here, and a lot of community, and I would love to see it grow. And
Do you live in the downtown area?
We live, no, we don't live in the downtown area, but that's one thing that I miss from our old town. We're from Ohio, is that we had a lot of downtown community events. So we had like a chocolate walk, and we had, of course, I can't think of any other walks right now, but they would do like a movie downtown and things like that. And so it was events that were free to the community that we would pull together, and it really made us be part of each other's lives. And it's those moments that we look back on, and that really brings our old downtown to us and our old home. It gives us all of those memories, and I want my kids to have those memories, and I want the kids that I take care of at school to have those memories. And so I feel like with Envision Berwick, it's putting those steps into place and really just providing community and memories for the generations to come.
Terrific.
I make a motion that we approve Kate Marscal for a 2-year appointment to Envision Berwick.
A second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Welcome aboard.
Thank you both.
It is funny, like when I lived in Portland, there was one day I looked out my window and there was like a crowd of people. They were just showing like The Incredibles on the side of a building. Like a bunch of people were just hanging out there watching it at like 7 o'clock at night. Be a lot of fun. All right. The presentation changes to the LUO land use ordinance for the June 11th warrant.
We're gonna come back to this. We're expecting.
I guarantee you he messed up the date since they got off-cycled on weeks.
I can cover them.
It's up to you. If you want to table it, we can move. But, you know.
We ought to wait until the chair, that's who you're waiting for, right?
The chair, yeah.
See if he comes later today, but we
Alright.
can.
Yeah, we have to do it tonight.
Oh,
Right.
to get it on the, I see.
Or, well,
We could
let's-
move it on the agenda and see if,
Yeah, we
text
can
him?
we can table it until other business.
Text him
text
and
him
be
and
like,
let's say,
yeah,
hey,
he's
we're
right down the
waiting
road.
for
He'll
you.
come down.
Yeah,
He's
Alright.
local.
we'll table that for other business and see if it comes back up. All right, don't go too far. You're up next. All right, so no unfinished business. Town manager report.
As you can see from outside, the generator installation began last week. They're running electricity from up down there to cross into the boiler room. That's going well. Also related, we tested internet backup, and that was successful. So now we have an internet backup if Comcast goes down. Also, again, with the generator during storms, we're going to be much more resilient as a town and community. I have been in discussion with property owners to acquire land for the Public Works expansion. I plan on having that amount for the next meeting. That's something I'll have to go for town vote. So working on expanding 2 to 3 bays for Public Works, make some room for the trucks and be able to store equipment on need.
The larger plows?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I have for now for an update.
Any questions for the town manager? All right. No select board communications. Approval of accounts payable. We have a payroll warrant number 56 from February 15th in the amount of $80,802.57. We have an accounts payable warrant number 58 from February 20th in the amount of $158,395.02. We have accounts payable warrant number 59 from February 20th in the amount of $50,688.33. And a payroll warrant number 57 from February 22nd in the amount of $82,342.60. I make the motion that we pay our bills.
A second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Bills paid. All right. New business. Internal control systems documentation policy revision. Do you want to introduce that? Or
This is something Lisa Vargas and I worked on to update because of the new bank. We had to change how we do deposits, just little tweaks. We found a few typos and other things that needed to be updated with the policy, but basically it was because of the new bank that we contracted with.
Yep.
So we had to update the policy. So
Any-
you have a copy with track changes on it, so you can see what was changed.
Were there any major changes? Anything big? That
No,
Yeah.
it's basically now we have a courier service for the deposit, so I no longer bring it to the bank.
Oh.
That's about the biggest change. Lisa, can you think of anything else? Yeah.
So they come and pick it up.
Yep. Only cash. Lisa now does the checks through a machine.
Yeah.
So.
Any other questions about the internal control policy changes?
No, I didn't see anything other than a few typos, yeah.
I will make the motion that we approve the changes to the internal control policy.
A second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right. Request to close customer service on March 5th, 2024 for the presidential primary election.
Yes, again, all staff on board upstairs. hoping for a big turnout. Fingers crossed, everyone come to vote, please. 8 to 8. Well, it might be. Hopefully, it will be. So I have my staff scheduled upstairs for the day.
Okay. I make a motion that we close the customer service on March 5th, 2024, so that staff can assist with the presidential primary election.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
There. Now, you have your staff. Now, select board to set polling hours for March 5th, 2024 presidential primary election. The town clerk recommends 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You
Yeah.
don't want 6 a.m. anymore?
No, thank you.
I'll make a motion that we set the polling hours for the March 5th primary at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Patty, do you still need the assistance of volunteers to assist with
We're
that?
all set for this one, but always looking.
Okay.
For the presidential, she'll need about 12 more bodies.
Yes,
So-
I will.
All right. So anyone interested in volunteering can contact you.
Yes. Or Val, my deputy.
Or, okay, the deputy.
I'll probably do
I guess another
Thank you.
reminder, we chose to move our meeting to the 13th.
it.
Yeah.
That's what I was double checking. I'm like, did I put that in the
Yes.
calendar? We chose it? Yes.
No quitclaim deeds, abatements. What do we got today?
Hey, Paul.
Oh, you're still muted.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. We have one abatement application. It's regarding 184 Blackberry Hill Road. It's map R064-4-2. The owner of the property filed the abatement in response to a large increase in his land valuation. The property is an active farmland property, and land had been held and land is also held in open space. Upon review, we discovered that the total parcel acreage was incorrect, and an acre had been added to the property in error. Additional adjustments were made while reviewing the property, which resulted in a reduction of value from $206,000 to $176,300, a difference of $29,700. So we're recommending an abatement be granted in the amount of $544.10.
Any questions for the town assessors?
No. I'll make a motion to grant the abatement of $544.10 to map lot R064-4-2.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, I think that's everything, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
night.
You too.
All right. Now, we're back to second public comment. Nope. All right.
Any word about going back to the, oh, yeah.
Yes, other business non-agenda items?
Yeah, he's coming.
He's
He's
coming?
Okay.
Okay.
I should have asked questions of Paul, made him talk longer.
What is an abatement? But before we get to that, we do have one other piece of business. There is a lease proposal that needs to be voted on. This is for a truck that we previously approved, how many years ago? 2 years ago, and is now finally available. So I do have to read all this. So
Read slow.
it'll be nice and slow, I promise you. So, all right. So, essentially, this is my motion to approve this. That a capital acquisition project consisting of the lease of a 2023 Western Star single axle truck with associated accessories and equipment is hereby approved, and that the financing for the project in the principal amount of $280,652.82 is awarded to Androscoggin Bank at an interest rate of 6.49%, and that the town manager / treasurer, clerk or chair of the select board are authorized to execute the municipal lease purchase agreement, lease number 53240000305, and all other documents reasonably necessary to accomplish the purpose of this vote, and that the select board hereby confirms its determination that the term of the lease does not exceed 120% of the economic life of the project. That said lease is hereby designated a bank-qualified tax-exempt obligation of the town for the 2024 calendar year under the provisions of Section 265B3 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And thank you, Noah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right. Now, going back up, changes to the LUO for June 11th, 2024 warrant.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, good evening. Michael LaRue from Chair of the Planning Board. So we had a bunch of changes. I'll just start with the definitions. Affordable housing is C definition in 30-A MSRA subsection 4364. Next is temporary structure. Any structure that is used only temporarily for a maximum of 180 days is not permanently affixed to the ground or to any structure that is permanently affixed to the ground. Steep slope. A slope having a 15-foot or a greater vertical rise over 100 feet of horizontal run or 15% slope. Dimensional requirements on 6.3 for notes. 14 is affordable housing developments that meet the requirements for 30-A MSRA subsection 4364 allowed to have a dwelling unit density of at least 2.5 times the base density that is otherwise allowed in that location. 6.3.1 E. Each subdivision shall be issued only 3 permits per year, even if the parent parcel is located in 2 or more zones, including overlay zones, unless the subdivision is served by public water and public sewer. On 7.8, off-street parking loading in the table for activity affordable housing is added, and then the minimum required parking is 2 spaces for 3 dwelling units. With 7.13 signs is just added agricultural signs. With F, properly licensed home occupations shall be allowed not more than 1 official business directional sign, OBDS. The OBDS must be permitted through the MDOT and comply with all OBDS requirements. 4 is commercial signs are not allowed on utility poles. 5 is illuminated vehicle-mounted signs shall be turned off when the vehicle is parked at their business location. 8.1 campgrounds and tenting grounds. On 2 we struck out navigable rivers. On 5 it was recreational vehicles and tent sites not within the boundaries of an approved campground or tenting ground shall be restricted to use between the months of April 1st through October 31st. All RVs shall be connected to potable water and shall either have an approved connection to the septic system or shall be able to be emptied periodically at an approved disposal site. And then 6, all RVs shall be closed and weatherized during the off-season. C, health and safety. On 1, we struck out the picnic table. So each recreational vehicle, tent, or shelter site shall be provided with a trash receptacle instead of picnic table and trash receptacle. Then is the addition of dumpsters shall be in a fenced enclosure. On 4, each campsite, we struck out shall and said may. be provided with a masonry or metal fireplace, which shall be approved in writing by the fire chief. 9.8.I, the performance standards for conditional use and site plan review were stricken out with A, C, subdivision regulation amendments. 11.8, impact to natural beauty, aesthetics, historic sites, wildlife habitat, rare natural areas, or public access to the shoreline, bee retention or open spaces, and natural or historic features. On 4, we struck out sufficient and put in a minimum of 15% of, and then of undeveloped land to provide for the recreational needs of the occupants and or to maintain the scenic or natural beauty of the area and or protect the habitats, and struck out the rest of that. On 12.3, wildlife habitat, rare natural areas of or public access to the shoreline. With 1, we changed between 5 and 10% to a minimum of 15% of the area that the subdivision as open space. And or to protect habitats. Open space should include the most sensitive resource areas of the property and should be designed in larger blocks of land, preferably as part of an integrated open space network, laid out to the contiguous with open space areas or of similar character, whether permanently preserved or not, on adjacent parcels. New performance standard, state law, 11.18, farmland. All farmland within the proposed subdivision has been identified excuse me, on maps submitted as part of the application. Any mapping of farmland may be done with the help of the local soil and water conservation district.
All right. Thank you for presenting all that.
Yep.
Are there any questions at this time about these changes?
You want to go first?
I got it. You go first.
So planning board went back and forth on a lot of the changes in 6.3.
Yes.
So in regards to small division and large subdivision,
Yeah.
currently we're issuing 3 permits, but a small subdivision by definition is 4 or less lots.
Right.
Why not issue 4 permits to just have all the work done in that small subdivision, then have 3 homeowners come in, be there for a year, and have to deal with having a 4th house being built in their backyard?
It's a great question. We've had several debates over that. I lean towards the line of 4. We should be able to set the minimum to 4, just because of the fact that it helps finish that subdivision, so it's less noise. It's not 3 houses coming in and then the last house coming in, so the other 3 new people have to deal with more construction and stuff like that. But as a majority, we voted to keep it at 3. That's just how the planning board, after
So
the
what was the
discussion.
reason?
To slow down growth.
What? Didn't they get them for 4? They'll
No,
be able to
it's
build.
always been 3.
Right, but they'll be able to build 4.
They can build 4 still, yes.
And they'll
but-
do all the infrastructure, most
right.
likely.
You're right.
And they'll come back and do one more next year.
Right.
And so everyone's going to have to listen to all that.
Yep. We discussed that.
So how does that slow down?
How does it slow growth?
One of the ideas to kind of mitigate any externalities from doing that would be limiting it to minor subdivisions. But if you just broadly went from 3 to 4 for conventionals for major subdivisions, you're increasing the attractiveness of just developments in different areas. You could jumpstart development areas we don't necessarily want it. But I think limiting it from 3 to 4 within.
And keeping it the
Minor
caveat of
subdivisions,
keeping
yeah.
it in just minor subdivision. That way you
Yeah.
can
Well, that
finish
would be all my
whole-
thing. If it's
Yeah.
if it's a 4-house subdivision,
Right,
They got to do it anyway.
right.
So why not just let them?
But it also,
Let 'em do it.
James and I have talked about this before, it also goes by calendar year instead of issue permit year. So let's say like, if you come in November and file for the 3, you come in January, you can get that 4th one. So it's,
Just give them the
correct.
4.
So why not just
right,
and that's what I mean. So if
It's
you're going to
just-
start a project in October,
And
right.
calendar
And
year's
good
not
for you.
listed here.
If you're going to
Correct.
start later in the year, good for you. That's basically all it's saying. But
Well,
Okay.
We used to have a permit cap. So we had the permit cap of, it was 70 at the time, which 70 was, that helped stop growth. And eventually, we had people camping outside town hall, so it was repealed within a year, and then we replaced it with that 3 per subdivision.
this is just for minor subdivisions now. Just if you're already getting it for 4, why would we just give them permission to build 3?
No, the 3 is limited only to the
3 is all.
subdivisions that are outside the water system,
right,
the water and sewer system.
Yep.
So if you're doing a subdivision that's within the water system, you could do 10 in a year.
yeah.
So it's really only that's the limiting factor is if you're outside of the water district and the sewer district.
Okay.
But again, if you're doing a calendar year and I start the project in September and I build the 4th house in January,
Still getting
then
it.
4 or 5, that still doesn't make any sense.
So let me
You're
play
gonna have
that.
4.
Let me play devil's advocate there. So the reason why issuing 3 versus 4 from the chair of the planning board was to slow growth. But if they're building on the water system, they can get all 10. So we're not slowing growth.
Yeah, we're just slowing growth in one area.
Right, which that's apparent with the people from the public hearing. The comments were basically that they wanted it to stay the same, and that was also a determining factor.
And how come there's no mention in here about, you just said verbally it's calendar year, but I don't see it in writing here.
That's just more. That's just the the
bigger-
permit rules.
Okay. Regular permit rules.
Yeah, that's not land use ordinance. That's just that's the permit rules, not the land use ordinance.
This question might be for Patty. Are every one of these they're going to be on the ballot separately, or is this
No,
It's
it's
do one or all.
question. Do you approve the changes to the LUO? And then we'll have this on the info table. I'll probably put it in all the booths for this election in June.
In June.
Yeah.
I think we should do
March.
4.
No,
It's
March
ridiculous.
is
There's no
next week.
reason.
no, too late for that.
Yeah.
I think based on the fact that the public has come out and said that they don't want it to change, and the majority of the board is comfortable keeping it, that I think it might be best to keep it as it is for now and readdress it in this coming year in a more hands-on way. Actually have maybe like a hearing where we actually like propose changes and and get it straightened out. Because I don't disagree with what you're saying. I mean, it makes sense logically, especially since the limit on a small subdivision is 4. But I don't think that we're gonna be able to hammer out everything tonight and change what's already been presented. And we're not changing anything. We're just keeping it the same. So
Well, that's your option
no, well,
as a select board, isn't it? That they,
Yeah.
if you want to change something right now, is the time that you
I'm not
edit
saying that
it.
you can't.
Right. Okay.
I'm just saying that it might not be the best idea, especially when people have already come out and said what they want.
Yeah. In the
Yeah.
public hearing, in that defense, it was only like 4 people, 3
That's
people.
more people than we get to.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's probably the 4 people that always complain. So
Well, in a town of 8,000, it's tough, It's like when only 3 to 5 people have opinions on things and don't know where to go.
I live in a subdivision, and having to listen to them come back I've had to listen to it for 3 years. They come back each time. So it would be really, for the other residents, they just want to hear it one time. You don't
Right,
want to
get
keep
it done
continuing to
over.
come back and
Right.
have to hear that.
And hopefully they wouldn't even be there at that time.
Yeah.
It's all just built at the same time, and then they sell
Yeah.
it, you know?
I mean, it'd
Right.
be different if it was 3 to 6 or 3 to, we're talking 3 to 4.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that
But
doesn't,
they've been approved for, well, they can build 4.
right.
They can get one like in October and then one in January. So they're going to be able to get the 4 anyway.
If you're arguing that it doesn't matter one way or the other, then
It's just a matter of time.
yeah.
Because if you started in January, then you'd have to wait till January again. But it's just relative on timing.
I'm thinking how I want to word this. Hold on. I think 6.3.1 should be changed to each major subdivision should be issued only 3 permits per year, and each minor subdivision should be allowed 4. That's my thought. And I think that is for the best interest of the residents in those
Say
buildings.
that again.
That 6.3.1 should be each major subdivision shall be issued only 3 permits per year, and then each minor subdivision should be 4.
Is minor subdivision a defined?
I believe that is what is
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's minor or major. Yep.
Yeah.
because we have
That's what we're
two-
saying, yeah.
Well, I know that's what we refer to it, but that doesn't mean that it's
No,
defined
that's
that
my-
way in the
Yeah.
LEA.
No, I think it is.
It is.
And I think that is in the best interest of the residents and those being around and those being built. If you think about even abutters to a new subdivision going in, you're not just talking about the 3 houses that have to wait for one more house. You're talking about those abutters that are next to that minor subdivision that are now going to hear construction for 2 years.
It's loud.
That it's going
It's
to
a
feel
lot.
like it's a major subdivision going in.
Right.
Doesn't really change that.
No, you gotta go back to the beginning and
Yeah.
add major and then minor over.
Yeah. Well, I'm just seeing if it affects the ending part with the public water and public sewer.
No, I think if you stop it right at it, the even
Right.
if.
Do you, Linda? Do you like that? Do you like that change?
I do agree. I'm just looking, see if there's anything else. That's the only thing that sticks out, but that really does.
Lisa?
I support the change, yeah.
Then I'll hear a motion.
So it's mine. So I'll make a motion to add each major subdivision shall be issued only 3 permits per year, and in each minor subdivision shall be issued 4 permits per year, even if the parent parcel is located in 2 or more zones, including overlay zones, unless the subdivision is served by public water and public sewer.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right. Are there any other issues to take with the way we currently have it laid out?
No, I really like the changes to 11.8 and 12.3. I think increasing that minimum of open space, especially when we talk about R2, R3, and going out there, and I really like that, putting that in the most sensitive area and trying to be continuous with other. I think a lot of what we've been trying to do at the comp plan is target that open space and get that defined line for our natural habitat so that that's going to be a protected corridor through town. So I think that's huge forward thinking there to help protect that. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think on the 8.1, the campgrounds,
Oh, yeah.
kind of surprised that it's not required, but I'm glad to see that it is, where it's, the wording is changed to which shall be approved by the fire chief before they put up a
Yeah.
fire pit at these sites. Just be- the may be approved, but they shall be approved. Yeah, so I'm glad that was caught.
Shall be restricted to use
My
between
only
the months of
question is,
April
with this
1st.
new change, is there any other section of the land use ordinance that refers back to the 3 permits per year that would also need to be changed in order, so there's no conflict?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
I believe that would be the only.
that's the only place it's written in. Okay, just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
that's a good question. That's a great question.
If 6.31 conflicts with 7.15 or
Yeah.
then
We're in trouble.
then we've set us up for failure. All right, I'll make a motion that we what are we doing? We're approving these to go on the warrant for the June election.
With the additional edit.
But
Yeah. As I move that we put the land use ordinance changes to the warrant for the June vote as edited.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? You can go home now, Mike. You're all
It's fine.
Thanks for running down.
Appreciate it. All right. So, any other business, non-agenda items that anybody wants to bring up? All
Is that
right.
what these came in? Or is that going to be under budget?
That's budget.
Okay.
All right. So, we are going to essentially take a recess, do our budget review, come out of recess. We have a discussion of personnel that will, in executive session, and then we'll come out of that and adjourn the meeting from that point. No decisions will be made in budget review or executive session, so that won't be televised. Anything else? All right, let's go into recess so we can do the budget.
That's right. I lied to you. That doesn't go to town manager.
All right, so we'll start with the BCM budget. Full-time wages, that's going down. We have the associate position, Jeremy's position, we have that in the full-time wages. So we're just moving that to the part-time wages. So that's why you see the difference in full-time and part-time. But this fiscal year 25 budget will include the full-time director and a part-time associate director.
I guess my only question is nothing planned for equipment maintenance.
So with the Telview server, it's being replaced,
Okay.
and that comes with a maintenance plan.
Okay, so it's all part of one thing, and we don't need anything additionally for it. Okay.
And
But
that
you
comes
don't
under
need,
equipment
like-
purchases.
Cameras, things like that?
So the capital purchases are being made in this fiscal year.
Okay.
They're doing, Jeremy actually you can probably explain it better than I.
Our server at the moment is, I mean, as it goes with all computer equipment, right? It ages out very quickly. And right now, we're redundantly posting so that if we send a video, this meeting, out to Channel 95, we also then have to post on YouTube. We also, if we wanted to post on Facebook, would have to do all of those things separately. Our new server will send one video out, an HD video, it'll get knocked down to SD for Channel 95. All our media is then, sent to its various places. Additionally, something I'm excited to share is that we are getting a first streaming platform on Roku. So we'll have a
That's
Roku
cool.
channel, so that will be dedicated, and if that's successful, then we can look at Apple TV or any of the other iOS.
What does it cost for the Roku channel?
I think it's about $7,000 gets us there for that, and that's all in. That's like the one-time fee, the setup, and then it's paid forever.
And it's going to be ad free, right? It's not going to.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Because I've gone through Roku TV and seen things, and then they pump in ads in the middle of stuff, and it's not going to be like that, right?
No, there's a couple. I've downloaded on Roku a couple of local New England community access apps, and they're all ad free. It won't be like YouTube, where like YouTube stores everything for free. We can keep videos going back to the turn of the century.
Yeah.
And they're not going to pull them down, essentially, because the space is infinite. It's not that way with Roku. We will only have a certain amount of space on Roku, but there will always be our most current stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And we'll still have them on YouTube.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. And then some.
And with BCM, they have a fund balance, so in the case there needs to be a capital purchase in the next fiscal year.
That's what I'm thinking. You
Okay.
need a microphone.
Just-
You need to, because
just
you got to
in
go
case
out there and
something pops
record
up.
this stuff.
They would have the funding in their fund balance to purchase.
Anything like that. Laptop. Okay.
Well, there's also 3 places for equipment. There's equipment purchases, equipment maintenance, and
Yeah,
then
I
there's
saw
equipment.
that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe that should be streamlined a little bit.
I mean, at the moment, we do have several cameras, and 2 of them are the ones we use all the time. They're absolutely operational. It's also worth noting that all of us has a camera in our pocket
Yeah.
that's just more powerful than any video camera from 10, 15 years ago, right?
That's
So
no joke.
we are discussing what cameras look like moving into the future.
Part of this budget is the taxpayer will pay $70,000 of this budget. So part of the budget discussions we had last year was working towards having BCM become more financially sustainable into the future. Franchise fees are kind of in flux. We had some good news where we had a law pass, I think today was officially, that may increase the franchise fees, that may help offset the taxpayer. Because the franchise fees come from cable subscriptions, and those have been on the downward slope.
Yeah.
This law that was just passed possibly could have franchise fees for things like Peacock, could require franchise fees. NBC will be required to pay franchise fees for using our infrastructure and our right-of-way.
Yeah.
No other questions enough.
So it's, the new budget is like around 193,000, 70,000 currently right now is all you're asking for from taxpayers?
Yep, and the rest comes from franchise fees.
And last year, the ask amount was about 35,000.
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions about BCM's budget?
Not at the moment.
No, I know.
I think you guys are safe.
At the moment.
At the moment.
All right, Chief. Let's look at the big one.
Fire next.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Tom.
What number are we on now?
Fire is
7. 7.
Yep. 7. All right.
The big change is adding 2 full-time firefighter EMTs and reallocating some of the per diem funds to help cover that. So that's the change you see in the full-time wages and reflected down through the payroll expenses, including health insurance.
So you're adding 2 additional part-time people.
2 additional full-time.
Full-time. I'm sorry, 2 additional full-time.
We're at that point with per diems and on-call staff that we're getting very few. Right now, I have 5 per diems. They're required to at least put in for a shift every 6 months. They work full-time at other at departments, so they're giving me all the time they can give me. If I don't have a per diem available, then it means I have my full-time career guy running alone, and it's unsafe, and I've decided that's not going to happen. And when that happens, I have to force in another full-timer. So in the month of January, I've had to force in my full-timers 15 times in order to get the 2-man coverage. That's why we went with per diems for the last 2 years in a row, but it's getting harder and harder to get per diems. So I recommended 4 full-time. After negotiations with the town manager, I can go with 3. I'll live with 3 for now, but the time's coming where we're going to have more full-time staff. And it may be sooner than we all think.
And maybe I correctly heard you, but you said that they're going to be, you say EMTs?
They are EMTs, yes.
So these new positions will be
Anybody we hire now are firefighter EMT.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, we just had 4 of my new recruits who are level 1 and 2, just finished EMT. So instead of 13 this year, I got 17. So we're moving up.
That's good, because we're getting older.
Oh, I know. I'm with you.
Dispatch services, completely wiped out.
Last fiscal year, we moved that to a general expense item because it's a shared cost that all the town benefits from. So
Yep.
rather than putting it was in 2 departments, it was moved to that general expense.
Got it.
Electricity, see, I mean, there's quite a difference. Who knows?
That's for everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say every department's going with that.
Last year you budgeted 13.5 for training. You utilized 14.5, but yet you went back down to 13.5. You're increasing the number of officers in the department. You feel comfortable with that training number?
What more? Do you need more training?
I
I'm
guess,
sorry, am I?
yeah, I couldn't totally hear what you asked me.
So last year you budgeted $13,550 for training. Then it says actually you ended up spending $14,551, but you've gone back down to what you're requesting for training, but yet you've increased the number of officers, and they have mandatory training throughout the year, correct?
That's correct.
So are you comfortable with that training number?
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
I've been able to send, like I said, 4 new recruits out to level 1 and level 2.
Yeah.
I paid for all that training. I paid for their time. They came back. All 4 of them just went out and got their EMT license. They're all licensed. And I was able to do it within that figure. I have 2 company officers that will be taking some certified company training here shortly. And the plan is to be able to pay for that too, and I should have enough funding to do that.
Okay, all right.
Me being naive, is there any training program set up for the current firefighters that they can get to where they can perform some of the training in-house?
Oh, we do
Is that
training
something-
in-house every month.
Perfect.
We have our own instructors. Sometimes we call in outside instructors. I probably got, all my company officers are instructors. So we do in fact, they're training tonight up to the church. So
Awesome. I guess the only thing I had a question of is, I see your note about, okay, if we add 2 more full-time firefighters needing the need for some of that OT, but don't you think if we're not using the per diem or not having to force our current firefighters to work extra OT, that the OT line should actually come down if we add more staff in?
Well, we've been trying to recruit. In fact, I just put on 2 new recruits recently, and both of them have firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 training. The issue is we have to train them orientation to our department, how we operate things. So that takes time. The per diem, like I said, most of the time I got 1 coverage. The other position I get probably half the time. But you never know when that's going to happen. And my fear is that at some point, my full-time career guys who are happy, as I know right now, things are going well, but when you take their weekly schedule and you start juggling around with it, there are other places to work out there, and probably some of those places pay a little bit more than Berwick, and then you're going to start losing people. So the less we have to force them. If they have to come in and work a shift because they're being forced, they'll do that, no question. But when it's that frequent, we're going to run into issues as a department.
Yeah, the burnout and the quality of life changes. Yep, I get it.
Last year we spoke about putting money into, and maybe I'm just not, maybe it's already incorporated in here and it's just not separated out, but we had put specific money in case the town had an emergency. We were looking for warming centers or shelters or things like that. I don't see this specifically in there. Is it just incorporated into what's already here?
No, that's a separate budget
Okay.
that we can talk about. It's under emergency management.
Okay.
I think last year you put in $10,000 for the account.
Yep.
We went out and bought cots, blankets, pillows. We just had donated a trailer by the Legion that we just got yesterday.
Yep.
So we'll be putting all that into that trailer, so wherever it needs to go, we can take it in a short period of time and set it up.
Okay. And did some of that money incorporate the training for hosting shelters or warming centers?
It hasn't yet, but it will, yes.
Okay. All right. And if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to skip to that. Do you feel like last year we put that amount of money in? Do you feel like that's sufficient for this year?
I think we're ready.
You think you're ready?
I think you need to put another 10 in this year,
Yep.
but we're ready. If you need it tonight, we'll have it
Okay.
set
Okay.
up.
That's what we need to hear. Okay.
At one point, you had mentioned that recruiting was kind of hard with labor. Is it getting better?
No,
No.
no. And it's just not a town here. It's all over the country when it comes to volunteers and trying to get volunteers on board. Back in the 80s, we started a what they call a LOSAP program, Length of Service Award System, something like that. And the town put towards like $15,000 into an account, and all staff had to meet certain requirements. If they met those requirements, then at the end of the year, they got credit for that year. Wasn't a lot. What it did is provide a small retirement program so that when the individual who is now 18 turned 65, they would get a little retirement program, like $250. It wasn't a lot, but it was something. And it was something that back then attracted people, because we paid by the point system back then. It wasn't very much funding involved, because it was basically volunteer. That plan also funded a death benefit. So if one of them got killed, it was like $10,000. Again, not much, but it was something that got their attention. That whole program right now is only in existence because of the older staff I got on, because they're still in the program. The newer generation, for whatever reason, not even interested in the program. So it isn't that we haven't tried to recruit. I get people coming all the time. We just did 3 or 4 interviews within the last 3 weeks, and I think we brought on 2 people out of that interview who were already certified. So we're looking.
So what are you, when you say you want to bring 2 people to full-time, are you looking to recruit within your current part-time base, or are you going to be looking outside where you're saying?
I think that it would be beneficial for the town, and this would be my thought process, is to go to the outside, see what we get for candidates. We have people right now on Berwick Fire Department that may be interested in those positions. They would be included in that.
Okay.
But I think we have to open it up to the outside.
Oh, yeah, no,
Definitely,
my only thought about that was, do we have any interest, because you just said how hard it was to recruit. We add 2 more full-time positions to the budget, are we going to be able to, do you think we're going to be able to fill them? Like within the next couple of months?
Yes. I know it's difficult. I know police departments had a hard time, but yes.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I've got qualified people right now on the call force that are actually helping me out by working per diem shifts that more than likely would be interested.
Okay, so it's not likely then that if we approve these in the budget July 1, they're going to go vacant for 6 months?
They're not going to go vacant.
That's
I can
kinda what I was
guarantee you.
That's what I was asking, is just, do we anticipate we'll be able to fill them?
Yeah, we can't afford to let them go vacant.
All right.
Any other questions?
I don't have any.
Nope.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Welcome, thank you.
Did you want to do anything with emergency management?
10,000 sounds good to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Rack.
Recreation,
Hopefully it's quiet.
those are the ones we just got updated, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we just had a couple updates come
All
through.
right. This one might not be as easy.
I'm trying to think of what changed.
That's what I'm looking for, too. Because the last page tells you.
Yeah, no, she just gave us like 3 new sheets, right?
This one tells, I don't know what it tells you, I haven't read it yet.
I think there was an update in what they took in versus what the minus on is. I don't know the taxpayer that changed.
Did you bring your binder? All right,
I think what the
recreation.
increase was.
Good evening.
How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
What came out of it? Okay.
So I think the bottom line's the same, which is why I'm thrown off.
All right,
Cruise on through
what's
this.
one of the big changes we got?
Hey, Josh.
Mike.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
I can go over some of the
I only
highlights.
looked
You
that
can jump in whenever you'd like. So wages, that's just a increase with actually it's with the change is it's the 5% increase, and I also believe it's interesting, about 6.7%. Anyway, there's no changes in personnel for full-time wages. Part-time wages is proposed to increase a little bit. You can see that reflected through the personnel costs.
And that's for the summer staffing things?
Yeah,
or-
that's for summer camp.
Camp staff.
we've combined and streamlined some of the cost codes. We increased grounds maintenance, so grounds maintenance now includes some park maintenance for our future parks. Grounds maintenance is also offset by field user fees.
So we don't use Public Works for grounds? We,
Not currently. It's either myself or we subcontract it out.
Yeah, do we use like a service or something to come in and make sure the baseball field look great and all that stuff and grass?
I took over a lot of it this last summer, so we cut that down quite a bit. About half, I'd say.
So you don't have a part-timer who does, like, mowing the fields and the park?
That's correct, I do not.
so you do it?
I do.
Youth sports dropped by 100%. What is that for?
We don't sponsor any or organize any youth sports. They're all their own
Organization.
citizen commissions, yeah.
Berwick Soccer is supposed to be meeting today somewhere.
Right above us, I believe, yeah.
So the baseball, football, those are done through the school or through their own.
We just maintain the fields.
Yeah.
They're all done through private parent booster
That's what the
programs.
words I was looking for is that, yeah.
Okay.
We're looking at summer camp figures over the past several years, and COVID really threw a wrench into just the cost. I think
Yeah.
we look back before COVID, summer camp was around 50,000, so it's kind of getting back to.
We just put it at a number that it's already there. It's already at. We just got it, so it's not in red anymore.
And the operating supplies?
Operating supplies and materials and supplies, I believe, merged. I was just running through that over my head again. I believe we merged those two just to cut out in a line item.
Okay.
Is that right? Yeah.
But the other one went down as well.
There must have been something in there that belonged in outside services.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
like the
because it just
Myrex.
seems odd that
Yeah.
materials would be that decreased.
Yeah, I think it was
It was
MyRec.
MyRec was or the outside services,
Okay.
the registration software.
What is enrichment as a line item?
That was my question.
Enrichment is anything like Girls on the Run, anything we sponsor some Boy Scouts for. Girls on the Run is really the only one I can think of that we're currently active with.
So it's a sponsored it's an actually
Yep.
sponsored program?
Yep.
Okay.
Like we don't collect the registration fees. Girls on the Run of Maine do, but we supply them with all their operating supplies.
Also, you plan on using it for the sensory board?
Yeah, but that was going to come out of this one.
And summer camp has gone up like 6%. Is that because we're not equating with the user fees for when people go to camp?
No.
It's because of
We
inflation.
yeah.
It's everything going up.
We did what we considered was a very bare minimum summer camp, and we still have probably $5,000 or $6,000 to add to this number because we have to buy shirts before the fiscal year changes for the next camp. So this is the number.
Yeah, I think
I mean, as close as we could absolutely project it.
It was under budgeted. That's what I was trying to venture through COVID. The actual number for camp was around $50,000 before COVID. You know, 2 years and 1 year before COVID. Then COVID happened, and then we actually started budgeting for summer camp in the operating budget, and it started at $30,000. And then part of it was we had a reduced attendance in summer camp. So as we were turned back to normal, it really is at where it should have been, around the 50,000 mark.
And the numbers have gone back up for summer camp.
Yes, we filled out last year.
Okay.
We projected, we didn't want to take more than 150, and we took 151.
That's awesome.
What is your projection for this year? Do you know?
We're gonna We're gonna shoot 150 and then put a 25-person wait list. And if we get our staff the way we want to, we'll take 175, and we'll still be well within our 10-to-1 ratio.
Yep.
And at 175, you're still going to be able to maintain it with this budget? 25 other additional kids?
I believe we can. It'll take some logistics with the buses. That's where the entry fees and buses is where the majority of our costs come from. So if we have to add a fourth bus, we may just leave some kids at the field one day and just. It happens all the time. That's not. They're under supervision.
All right, here's my one summer camp follow-up. You
later,
guys do
kids.
an awesome job with summer camp and keeping the kids involved in everything you do. Have you looked at what the costs are in the surrounding towns and everything and think that you're too light in what the enrollment fee is?
We are.
We are low.
And I think that's why we're seeing it here. And again, I don't mind the increase because obviously I think there's a need for the children in Berwick to be a part of it. But I don't think people are going to have that much if you move that line up a little bit more to kind of bring that in because, again, you offer far more because of the work you guys do than a lot of the camps around town, and it's a much better value.
Yeah.
With us, with last year being our first year doing it, we weren't aware that we had to get approval to either decrease or increase our fees. So,
Okay.
oops, we lowered them last year. We didn't know we had to get that approval. We were going to up them this year. And then we found out we had to stay with what was voted in December of 2021, which is right around where we were going to go anyway. So instead of bothering you guys to up the fee, you'll see us before next year.
Okay.
Looking to increase.
Yes,
For
it will be.
next year's
Yes.
budget.
So
Okay.
it is increased. It's back up to what was approved by you all at the last time it was presented to you all. And shame on us. It's kind of our fault for not knowing that was the process.
I think so too, yeah.
And that's and again, and that's all I'm saying. With the cost of inflation, you guys are working, I think, far harder than you need to be.
And if you got
And-
a 25-person wait list, it's not like the demand is there.
Mhm.
You know?
Is it only Berwick residents?
Nope.
There's a non-resident fee that's higher than the resident fee. It's not an extremely discouraging increase.
And we didn't advertise it, but we did open it up for the first week of registrations was just Berwick residents. And then it went to
Was there a
non-residents
lot?
after that.
We're just over half.
Yeah.
How fast did you sell out last year?
We opened up late last year, so we sold out pretty quick. We're open way early compared to last year. So it's a hard comparison. We're trickling right
Gotcha.
now.
Right now, we're sitting at 48 K through 6 and 11 7 and 8. And we're hoping for 115 for K through 6 and 35 for 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
You'll
no doubt you'll
easily
get it.
that.
I have
Yeah.
no doubt you'll get it. I just don't think it's in anybody's mind right now, and that's
Yeah,
a lot.
I would
And
agree.
we're offering a lot more payment plans this year. So if they wanted to go on a payment plan when we first opened, they had 17 weeks that they could pay. So now we're down to 15 weeks, so and people are using it.
It's a great idea.
And it's advertised as give us a call on the information page on the rec page. If you need for other arrangements, let us know now.
Okay. I know it's a budget meeting, but can we get any update on the playground, where it was in the beginning? I know, the can of worms, but everything's going to be ready for camp, right?
Playground's done.
Playground's up and running. Yep.
It's since we're all live now. I was we were going to plan a once we get the courts paved, just a grand opening ceremony. So we didn't piecemeal the playground, the basketball court, the tennis court.
Right.
Wanted it all done. So that's the first thing we're doing once the asphalt's, which the weather's trending. We might have it next week. No. But
So
yeah,
once
soon,
all that is done, there's going to be some sort of, to the townspeople, some sort of a...
Yep.
you all are going to be invited to cut the ribbon, and we'll do that ceremony.
We're hoping to do it all together. We also have a naming of the field, and we just got an Eagle Scout who
Yep.
just did the new flagpole.
We
So
can
we're
do a
hoping to do all of that
ceremonial
together.
flag raising and the naming of a field all on the same day.
All on the same day and everything, and that will happen prior to camp.
Way prior, yes,
Okay.
We're hoping to do it prior to the start of baseball.
which is April 1st.
Really?
Well,
You're
they
gonna-
start
They start
practicing
practicing.
April 1st.
Their
Games
season-
start the end of April.
Excuse me, their season starts April 1st.
And you're going to pay it before April 1st? No.
No.
Can't imagine. No. Okay.
I have a general thought, not for this year, but at what point, with all the boosters and everything that Josh is doing work to save money, and we've talked about, we've outsourced plowing the water department, do we just add another public works employee and take care of the grounds of the lots and the fields that the town owns?
Well,
Because it
we-
might be cheaper at that point, and I
Yeah.
think it will save on the liability. Because if we have the boosters paying for their own, I don't know who's checking the insurance if somebody gets hurt doing that. Josh is volunteering his time to be out there doing it. I'm sure you've done it, picking up garbage. Again, we talked about different plowing that we've subbed out at some
Right.
point. I mean, I think to pull that back to the town, and I know right now it was a tapped department, but we might be able to save money on some of these other department budget
You
lines
combine.
and reduce some of the fees
Yeah.
and just looking at it.
Yeah.
So again, not for this year. I think it's going to be a lot more looking into it. But I think at some point we got to start planning that. I think in the long term we're going to save the town money, and we'll be doing it in town, which I think will streamline a lot of the things that we want to get done.
So prior to COVID, Public Works was doing all of our mowing.
They were.
And there's,
So
Absolutely.
what happened during
Mowing,
COVID that they don't mow?
I was not here when it changed, so I cannot say.
I don't have an answer for that either.
It's only hearsay what
None
we
of us
know.
are here
I'm
either, I
not
don't
sure.
None of us are up here.
Yeah.
I wasn't up here, I don't think.
I was at
All I remember is, I think there was an intentional decision we bought a mower. I think part of the intention behind buying a mower was to have the director mow in the off time. So that was a previous director that put that in motion. And I don't know the exact of why.
We had a part-time mower.
Yep, we did.
the part-time mower cost us,
No, it wasn't who we contracted out. She had a single person that was coming in and mowing.
who chewed up the baseball debt that we ended up having to buy?
Nope.
Not ours.
That was Public Works.
Maybe we
Yeah,
found our
because
answer. But
When you just said you bought a mower so that the director can mow in the off time, the problem with that is the grass needs to be mowed during the on time, in the middle of the summer, when you got camp and everything else going on.
Yeah.
I agree. I think we ought to look at maybe, because in the off time, in the winter time, Public Works could use an additional part-time employee. So if that person is redesignated during, I don't know, April 1st to whenever the leagues are still going,
There's
then maybe
Definitely
you're
time.
not paying so many contractor fees in different departments. Because you only have one person and the liability lands with the town and not the fees. Again, I agree, it's not a thought for
no,
this
it's not a
year
thought for tonight, but it's something just
to throw
that we're
out
thinking
there.
about.
I know last year Public Works did have a part-time mower. And I believe that turned into a full-time position.
That's something we ought to ask Public
Under
Works.
accident, we had mentioned accident with mowing and so it used to be 2,500, now there's nothing. Nothing was used in 2023, but they're talking about COVID, so I wonder,
Which
do
line?
we have
Accident,
insurance?
sickness
Or?
insurance.
There's some supplemental insurance, but we're covered through Maine Municipal.
For mowing?
Well, that'd be that
No, that's health. That's-
accident and sickness.
Accident,
insurance.
sickness.
Oh. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I wonder if that was something that had to do with camps or anything else with as a supplemental.
Yeah. It just seemed to disappear. Maybe it's just something to look at.
It disappeared last year too.
Yeah,
can't
that's what I
remember
mean.
that.
They're mentioning
can't remember
COVID,
why.
so it's like a pre-COVID. It got lost somewhere.
When you say building maintenance at 10,000, you only used 5,700. And you're looking for 7,000 this year. Is that the buildings on the field?
Correct.
That's what you're talking about. Okay, all right.
It needs a lot of work.
That's my belief as well. So I'm just kind of wondering why you were at 10 and you went to 7 if it needs a lot of work.
You can put as many zeros behind that number as you want.
Do you have any plans around that building? Because I know some of that building is rotted.
No, the building's fine. It's not unsafe. It's just not insulated, and it's I don't know. Maybe
The second floor.
the second floor is not really.
Supposed to.
Second floor doesn't need to have a whole lot of weight on it. We're using it for our lightweight summer camp storage. All the sports are out.
Okay.
It's in fully functional operating condition, but would we like something that's climate controlled and insulated? Absolutely. And with bathrooms, I think my biggest wish list for the public would be to have serviceable bathrooms.
Have we looked at what the cost would be to upgrade that when we put in a splash pad and redo the plumbing out there?
You say the first part of that again?
I said, have you looked at what the cost would be to upgrade that building, or at least put a bathroom?
It's a six-figure job.
Or put a bathroom out there if they're going to go out there and run new irrigation and new splash pad and all that.
I mean, the timing, if it all works out, the timing couldn't be better.
We talk about, dig a hole once with everything else in town. I mean, why dig it up once and then all of a sudden,
I think
3 years down the line, approve it and then dig a hole again and mess all the piping up.
Yep. Plumbing's there. The guts are there. Drainage was, I don't know how much more the drainage that was installed for the playground can take. We had the big rainstorm we had at the beginning of winter. It wasn't full by any means, but it was using I'd say half of its capacity.
It seemed to hold up well, though.
It held up,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Again, just things to think about. I know not a this year thing, but as we start moving that needle, it's going to save us, again, as we talk about budget, it's going to save us money in the long run if we just find ways to do it once.
What do we pay for a fire extinguisher check?
When do we?
No, we pay for that?
Annually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fire department doesn't do it.
Fire. Oh, they don't do it.
That's one of those outdated things. You bring your fire extinguisher to a fire station, they check it for you, whatever. They don't do that stuff anymore.
Oh.
I had a fire extinguisher in a building I was renting, and I wanted to get it checked, and they're just like, yeah, you have to go to an actual company and pay them to do it.
Really?
Consolidated fire.
Like the closest place that would do it was in Scarborough. I was like, I'm not going to drive to Scarborough just to get this one fire extinguisher checked. That's just insane.
Yeah.
And then pay them for the privilege. Probably would have been cheaper just to buy a new one.
That's what I was thinking. I don't have anything else either.
No, I think you're good.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night. Nobody worry, everyone's kids are fine and safe. Unintended.
Watch the bus.
We're at what?
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
We're on to miscellaneous.
This all falls under the There we start.
15.
Oh, look, there's I was wondering why people were so sitting.
Miscellaneous.
You're under the mist category.
You didn't think they just wanted to watch us talk all night?
Well, I saw a mist there, and then I was like, well, wait a minute. Envision Berwick's not on this list. Why is everybody still here? Maybe we're going to patch it into the end. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like last year we did this at the podium, but it was also like 11 o'clock at night. I feel like by the time we got here, so we're ahead.
The overall request for Envision Berwick is $21,365. So part of that includes $7,120 to support the Berwick for Lifetime subcommittee. And the Berwick for Lifetime is absolutely on fire right now. We have
In a good way.
Lori
Yes.
Jackson
Yeah.
from Berwick for Lifetime. It's really incredible to see that we're tapping into all that the Age Friendly Network has to offer. It's something that Envision Berwick incubated in 2016, and they're really stepping in beyond my wildest dreams of what they can accomplish. Other part of that budget, $9,000 for lawn chairs, Sullivan Square. Jeremy does an incredible job, and the committee does an incredible job fundraising. That just helps to keep the event sustainable and kind of a less of a, all completely dependent on sponsorships to make sure the event continues into the future. And then support for subcommittees and projects. That fund is to help, groups like Berwick for Lifetime, if the sustainability committee projects, they can start up pretty ad hoc, and it just helps to incubate these projects and helps good ideas come to
Last year,
fruition.
that money was put towards the relaunch of the Berwick Historical Society. We hope the relaunch. And this year, we will be funding a portion of those funds will help cover the Berwick Community Gardens becoming a 501c3.
And, yep. And part of what Envision Berwick does that makes it so successful is recruitment and bringing new people into the fold. Helps us keep going. Helps bring a whole, just fresh perspective of the group and changes the dynamic in a really awesome way. So trying to reach out in a more coordinated way and have, brochures and targeted ways of reaching people. We've been a member of the Great Falls Chamber. It's the Greater Somersworth Chamber of Commerce. They rebranded to Great Falls a few years ago. They cover Berwick, South Berwick, North Berwick, Rollinsford, and Somersworth. We've been a member there for a while. And one of the budget requests is bulk mailing to help reach people through mail. They'll be available.
For all town departments.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Didn't we discuss as a board the possibility of funding the community garden and then wanted to be a nonprofit, and then we decided against doing that?
Yeah.
I'm a little confused by that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I believe the issue was a couple different things. One was that we were worried that we were setting a precedent of,
Yeah.
Yes.
of us funding, anybody who wants a nonprofit in the town.
Right.
But also the confusion of the liability between what is a town organization and what's not a town organization.
Yeah.
Right.
That we aren't adopting. It's a Berwick community garden, not the Berwick town garden. We don't own it. We don't have.
Right, and that's, to answer your question, that is exactly why my understanding was that for the board, didn't make sense for the town coming from you folks to fund the community garden becoming a 501c3. But much like the farmers market, which Envision Berwick incubated, and eventually became a 501c3, we are trying to bring projects forward that then can become buoyant so that we're not spending, lawn chairs may be the exception, but things like the Historical Society, the Farmers Market, you want to see those projects take on a life of their own, and so to give the community garden that opportunity, it seemed like a good moment as it, has now gotten to the point where it's getting ready to launch to fund continuing that paperwork, which I think at this point is in process, but has been funded, out of somebody's personal account, which makes me uncomfortable.
So it leaves me with two questions. I
Yeah.
thought when it was presented to us that they had received
$50,000.
$25,000. The other
$25,000
went to-
grant to do
Yeah.
exactly that.
That did not no, the grant covers launching the garden itself, and
Not
it does
the
not
501c.
does not cover the 501c3,
Okay, so that-
and it doesn't preclude them from becoming a 501c3. It
Okay.
just gives them the opportunity to become a viable community garden.
Okay, so, thank you, that clarifies that. So then my second thing is, when you bring this up, you're talking about, you're gonna use funds from Envision Berwick, which is taxpayer dollars, to assist them to get their 501c, but this isn't gonna be an annual thing, this is gonna be to launch them.
Yes, they already have folks who are ready to step into board positions
Yeah.
and are basically have their paperwork essentially lined up to make this move, so that again it becomes something that takes on a life of its own and is buoyant, and Envision Berwick can continue to incubate and bring forth projects like that.
That makes much more sense, because I know when we were talking about it, we were talking about the difference between a 6 and an 8-foot fence that was like 15 and 18,000, but your budget for that is only 2,000, so it kind of puts it more into perspective of you're just trying to help it launch as a 501c. Once you do that, then it's off on its own, and you're just going to assist any other good project that comes along in the same manner.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
In the same way that we shepherded,
The others. No,
Exactly.
that makes sense to me now. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, okay.
All right, now just a follow-up to that. Do you have a checks and balance in place on the Envision Berwick board for groups that come to you saying we want to be a nonprofit?
Well, yes,
Okay.
because the checks and balances are the comp plan and the surveys that are our foundational document. So anything we do, we have to look back to those documents and say, does this fit within what the citizens have asked for throughout the surveys, and what the previous comprehensive plan and the rewrite that is available for any of us to read and look at now. Moving forward. So if somebody came to us and said, I want to start a 501c3 and I want Envision Berwick to take it on, and it involves something that's completely outside the world of anything that the comp plan of the surveys would have asked for, we would naturally have to say that's not part of this.
No, and that's, and look, Jeremy, I know you would do a good job vetting it and putting it out
No,
there. But
it's a
the
good
reason why I
question.
asked that is
Yeah.
because one day somebody is going to come and ask you, and you're going to
100%.
have to say no. And
Yes.
I just want to make sure you guys are protected, or
Totally.
whomever is on the board
Yes.
at the
Right,
time is
because
protected.
eventually it will go from you, the liability will go from you to the town, because that's how it works.
And that's why you guys didn't want to get out in front of it and say, oh, of course, the town's going to fund somebody starting a 501c3, because then
Yeah.
every single person who wants to,
Exactly.
operate with.
And of course, the first
Yeah.
time you say no to somebody, it's because you didn't like it. For whatever
Right,
reason
right,
it
right.
might be. It's not because
Yeah.
of the. So that's why just having that checks and balances. And
Of
that's
course.
all.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Any more questions on the Envision Berwick
You
budget?
jumped right into Envision Berwick, too. You were ready to go. Thank you.
So the lawn chairs for Sullivan Square is at 9,000. How much? And I was trying to look at the other sheet here. How much is the overall cost to do that? I know you get money back.
Last year, lawn chairs cost $32,000 approximately, at $32,300, I think.
So it's
$28,000 of that I raised from sponsorship.
Okay.
So in terms of return on investment, for us, it's about our time, because we pour ourselves into it. So we think of the event as a huge return on our investment for sort of its success, how much joy it brings, how much it checks those comp plan sort of marching orders. But for the town, we think that the return on investment is huge, because we raise so much of that money that, obviously for the amount that goes into Envision from the town, we're trying to bring value through sponsorship.
And the vendors also pay, correct?
I think it was $40 or something like that for the makers market. It's not super steep.
No,
it's,
I wasn't expecting it to be like $1,000.
We're not printing money.
Because you
on
want
it,
them to be making their
It's
money.
just like the
Yeah.
merch sales.
Yes.
It's really it covers
Yeah.
what it is, basically.
Yeah.
And you're bringing forward some money from last year, right?
Yes.
$29,000 from last year.
No, I think it's 18 from last year, and we're out still about 600 for Bad Wolf.
18,182. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Oh, I have the wrong thing. Vision Berwick right here.
for the
It was
historical-
24 that was carried forward to this
There's
fiscal
another
year.
one. I don't have latest. Just to spend some money. Sometimes I wonder about Berwick for a Lifetime. Why aren't they with the library? Sometimes I feel like they're sort of the library. Why don't they separate out like the garden?
Well, we would not look. Berwick for a Lifetime is important. They're doing a great job.
Yeah.
They have a lot of engagement. One of the sheets that they brought runs down some of their numbers. If you're interested in hearing any of them, it's pretty significant. They're saying that the attendance for all events equals 1,196 instances of participation last year. The lunch and learns are doubling. They've done really well. Special programming's been really high. Was Meet and Bleat last year? That might have been the year before, I feel like. But regardless, there's plus
They do
food
great.
boxes, sand bucket brigade. Like they're doing a ton. Would we say no? You have to stay with Envision Berwick. It's come up time and again. We would encourage them to be able to become buoyant in the same way. At the moment, that hasn't happened. I think the handoff from Sharon, who was chairing, to Roz and Stina is fairly recent. So I think once they have their feet under them, it's something we can look at again. As long as they are a functioning entity that is moving forward, that's what's important to us. I don't know. I think that Sharon, though she hosts many of their events at the library, she has so much going on. Putting them under the library's purview, I think, is asking more than she's able to take on, which is why the handoff happened.
Yeah.
No, that's
That's
very
very
fair.
understanding.
And again, it's a phenomenal program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you're go- you know,
That's
but
okay.
yeah, it's a huge asset to the town.
Yeah.
So Great Falls Chamber of Commerce, you get a lot from that, huh?
It's a good question, and it's a fair question. It's one that came up at the last meeting. We had Bonnie from the chamber come and speak at the last Envision Berwick meeting, and now is as good a time as any to encourage all of you to come to all the meetings. We would love to have connections between, I think in the past, the select board there was always a member on Envision, something that we miss and we would love to see more of, but everybody only has so much time, so people keep telling
Well,
me.
we switched our nights to.
switched our nights.
We ended
We
up
leave
we
the
ended up
same
being lined
time.
up the same time as you guys were.
Yeah, well, that's not my problem.
I promise you, that's not why I've been missing meetings.
Missing
you know?
meetings, come to Envision Berwick.
So you're on second Tuesdays now. So.
Yeah. I
now
know the
you're-
question. I'm sorry.
The second Tuesday?
Yeah, but the question
No, we're
floated
the
around
third. We're the third.
Is Jeremy, since you're here,
You're the second.
the question has come around a couple of times about are we going to be recording Envision Berwick meetings so that the public can see what's going on with some of these things.
So let me change hats and put on my BCM thing here and say to you, I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
I would like to see all the meetings captured,
Yeah.
and it is
Yeah, we
my
will.
ambition for, look, BCM's function, to me, is very much aligned with Envision Berwick's function, is very much aligned with the DCBS subcommittee function, which is to shine a light on what is happening here, to remove people's confusion or doubt and to educate them as to how civic engagement works, because in doing that, we hopefully get more civic engagement, right? And remove that kind of, I don't know, like nervous worry that something untoward is happening, because we're all just working as hard as we can to do good work, right? And so for all this, for everything that happens, I would love to be able to create more opportunities to shine that light through BCM. But, you know, there's also, like, there's somebody who has to be here to capture those meetings. Somebody has to then edit them the next day. So as I get deeper into BCM and I'm able to handle more, it's something that I would like to see more of all around. And so the short answer is yes, and the long answer is yes. But it's where we're going. It's not going to be next week.
The meeting.
Well, to be fair, also, unlike a select board meeting or a planning board meeting, your meeting doesn't have to be broadcast live.
Right.
It could be recorded and broadcast later. So, you know, you're not hamstrung by the idea that you have to broadcast that moment and have connection to the internet or to the network channel.
He started with Twitch.
You could actually straight up record and then bring it in the next day.
We do. It goes over Zoom and it can be requested and we can broadcast it. As a member, as a parent with kids in the school system, it's really hard to watch poorly captured meetings. And that's not just because I want to hear and see, like, you know, a filmmaker. That's because it's hard to watch. And so I would rather look to raising that bar than just say, well, it's good enough. We shoved a open laptop in the corner and now it's captured.
Are you saying the school board meetings aren't high quality?
I mean, they're trying. I think
they've gotten better. They have gotten better.
Meeting rooms, and they're working on it. I think they're aware because people complained about it.
No, they are getting much better. But yes, it is a vast difference between watching a school board meeting and watching a planning board meeting or a select board meeting. But yes, you're absolutely correct.
But you bring up an important word: the school system. There may be opportunities there as you explore BCM further and its growth, as that there could be select internships, there could be things for credit, there could be, you know, an adult ed thing on how to film certain things or to edit or things of that nature. There's always kids up there that are looking for fun community service as opposed to just, because I mean we've tried to get them to mow the lawn and they're like, yeah, no. But to say, hey, do you want to be, you know, a cameraman or a director of something for this term or something of that nature, that may be something to explore with the school board or just the school administration, because there may be some talented students up there in the high school that could potentially assist.
Absolutely.
In that venture. So again, thought for down the road, not necessarily for the budget, but
no, it's I go in and speak. I went in last semester and spoke at a class, and now they've asked me to come back with some regularity. So those are inroads.
That's awesome. That's great. About. That's great.
Any other questions on Envision Berwick?
I don't have. Mike?
You asked about the falls. Didn't get to finish answering your question.
Oh.
It's, to be honest with you, I think it is not a huge value at the moment. But here's what I see. The falls covers Rollinsford, Somersworth, and the Berwicks. And I believe that to succeed economically and just as a community, we can't be too insular. We have to think outside of the silo of just Berwick. And I think that the work of the Falls has been for several years now to think in that way. And I think that is smart. And I think that's why we asked Bonnie to come speak and connect with us. And so at the moment, that money that is going to the Falls, like, we should be going to the events. We should, but everybody's stretched thin and connecting with the folks. And I know some of the members of Envision Berwick have gone to some of the events, right? In the future, I believe it is really important. Have we taken as much advantage of it as we should up to this point? Probably not, but we're trying. We really are, and that's why Bonnie was at the last meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other miscellaneous?
Digital communication, branding, and signage. So Envision Berwick logo redesign. The Envision Berwick logo, I think I photoshopped. It was Envisioning Downtown Berwick, and we just shortened it to Envision Berwick. And I think I photoshopped the logo 8 years ago. Part of the logo redesign is to bring it into the branding system and to be able to utilize that for the brochure that Envision Berwick will be making. Going along with bringing in town departments and brands into the branding system last year, Berwick for Lifetime had their logo redone
When was this?
last year.
Last year.
Berwick for Life, yep. Which was used for their print materials and banners and things they use for their
They have a brochure.
informational tables.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know I had heard that the Public Works guys, they weren't overly impressed with the logo. Is there a way, if we do redo the logo, to, like, if there's any birds or whatever, can we take that part out and just have it say, Berwick for them? Or?
We can certainly look at adjustments within the logo, but just like any other
Just like
place,
shoe
like if
file.
you look at the chairman's hat, that is what the Berwick logo is. Now, there's a whole
Yeah.
system of the town seal and the logo, different logos in different situations.
Right.
But when you work for a company, like you go get a job someplace, unfortunately, we aren't all given the opportunity to come in and then say, I'm not in love with, the uniform, the colors, it's...
It's just a question.
No. And it's a legit question, but it's an important question to answer because as the select board has moved the branding forward and it comes under a plan that now has a brand guide and specific colors, we want, as a town, to kind of move that forward in a functional way. And when you get into those situations where people say, I liked when I just went across the street and told Devin Dukes, make me a shirt with a truck on it and write text on it, like, that was the way things were done for a long time, but every sign at every place here looked different. And so we're trying to end that in a functional way.
Even in this room, we have this seal, we have that seal. There's a seal on the front. I think it's different. Than
Yeah,
that
there's
seal.
one over there on the front. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I was saying this one's different than
yeah,
the
there's one like on the front of this table. I mean, like, and that was different than the sign that was out front here. That was different than the sign that was on the front of the field. That was different than the sign that you passed when you came into town. So I understand everything what you mean. It was very disjointed.
Yep.
It was like 30 years of different signage. Like every 10 years, they're just like, we're going to do a new one. And that's what they did it.
But they didn't take the
did
old ones
it.
down.
So
Lisa, I want everybody to be happy and to feel good about the brand. I also think that as time goes on and people become, just like they redid the signs in Dover, right? I'm sure there were people when they redid the signs in Dover who said, I miss the old signs in Dover. But after a while, you go to Dover and you go, oh, those signs look nice. You get used to it, it becomes Dover. Same
I don't
thing.
have a problem with the signs. I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
The public works. That's all I was asking. I do have one more thing, Jerry. So many times you see Envision Berwick and they're welcoming this one and welcoming that one and so forth. And I never saw that Domino's was welcomed.
Did we?
I don't know.
I never noticed that they were. Were they?
From Envision Berwick?
Yeah. I mean, because they were new and
No, but I don't think Envision Berwick has thus far put forth any kind of a welcoming, like we don't, one of the things we've talked about is like a welcome basket for people who move to town. We don't do that for businesses either. We you know, through the DCBS, or are you talking about Envision Berwick or the DCBS?
Talking about Vision Berwick, yeah.
Am I allowed to talk from my chair? I don't know if I am.
Yeah, go ahead.
None of this is.
Oh, I was just going to answer because I volunteer.
Were they? Maybe I missed it?
No. I think are you talking about the social media?
Yes.
I have not gotten to every business. I think I used to do the local business spotlights, but they take a long time. And I haven't done one. I think Bad Wolf was the last one, maybe a year ago. But they take a lot of time to do. When I started the local business spotlights, they were small local business spotlights. And so I think those are the businesses I still highlight because most people know Domino's. If I ever get back into the local business spotlights, I will try to be inclusive. But I never, I just did like the smaller ones that people might not know about. I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, I guess I mentioned it because they were new. They were it took a while to get here, and it was maybe not everyone was interested in having them here, and they do pay taxes.
Yes, I know.
And we
I
are
haven't
asking
gotten
for
to
tax
Moi.
money here,
The
so
other
we have
downtown
to include
businesses,
everyone.
I haven't gotten to Moi. I haven't gotten to Primal Fit. I haven't gotten to Aroma Joe's. I haven't gotten to the dairy.
So it's just
hard
it's
to
just
keep
on your
up.
list, and you
It's-
volunteer.
It's hard to keep up with everything, but also I do tend to promote more of the small businesses. I think if a lot of people were asking, like, can you introduce Domino's or can you introduce
Everybody knows who they are.
that I just didn't cross my mind to do like, this is Domino's and this is the staff here and this is what you can buy. 'Cause
It's just something I noticed.
Okay,
It's really not
yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
Maybe you had done it. I wasn't sure. That's why I was asking.
No, and I definitely am always, if anyone has anything they want highlighted on social media, like I definitely, you can send an email.
And thank you for everything.
And I will try to get to it. I've definitely been a little slower on the social media.
No, you haven't. You do a great job. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
But Jeremy, following up with that, we are promoting economic development. We are promoting a more robust downtown Berwick. And you said you guys had considered a basket or something like that. And then, only because you were talking also about the Chamber of Commerce, is there something that Envision Berwick could do as these new businesses move into the downtown? Like they used to do
Pay more business
Ribbon-
after hours in town too.
yeah, ribbon cutting, something like that maybe is less, less expensive. I don't know, but just something to say that, hey, you're here, welcome to Berwick. I'm glad that you're doing that. Again, just purely a suggestion, but
Well, one thing that's happened recently is that our friend Jeff at Orange Circle Farm has put together a Berwick business directory through Envision Berwick.
we
So
get our shares.
pulling them in, adding them to the business directory, then it will be a page that lives on the website. But yeah, points well taken. It'd be great to also welcome them with some Berwick swag, or here's a mug, or whatever. I also think it'd be great to be able to do that for people who are moving here from away, or from another town, or just to, really simple way. Here's your candle and your Berwick business directory and your magnet.
If it ever comes
Yeah.
to it,
Yeah.
definitely.
I just think as we're seeking to promote, a more robust downtown, as people spoke earlier about, we came from Ohio when we did these events and things like that, and let these towns know that, they're welcome here.
Yes.
And we're happy that you're here. We're happy that you're going to put roots of your business here in town, and just so you know, there's avenues. Right,
Yeah.
Envision Berwick is here. There's avenues if you want to participate. That, as new business starts coming, because I think the next couple of years are going to be huge for
Yeah.
development.
Absolutely.
The comprehensive plan template, that's really all about taking a lot of the words and paragraphs, condense them down to easy to access visuals, and come up with a design template for the whole document. Ongoing stationery needs, that includes things like business cards or random things that we support. The signage, New Chewanick kayak launch sign, so that's the kayak launch of Rochester Street.
That's a huge plus.
Yes.
I agree.
The Berwick bi-monthly, that's the continuation of the bi-monthly. We're up to 708 subscriptions, that's 708 organically grown. Those are people that are opening and reading it. It's got an open rate of 65%, which is, to me, that's unheard of for email list. People are also visiting our website. 169 people visit the page on the town website. It's constantly in the top 25 of our pages on the town website. They're dropped off at the library, post office, mainly local Yokes, and at town hall.
Let me do the next one.
All right. No, let me do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah, you go ahead. You're gearing up for it.
So, hold on to your hats. I don't think it's any secret that our website is not fantastic.
I was going to circle back to that before you went on, so yes.
And I think, in keeping with their theme of communication and shining a light and information sharing, we have put a lot of time into thinking about what that looks like in the world of Facebook, in the world of social media, in a world where we also have a lot of folks here who would like to receive something in the mail. And we tried that with the Berwick Quarterly. We've moved on to the Berwick Bi-Monthly, which seems to have been, a success story. And what we have come up with is the Berwick Daily. And our outward-facing website will continue to have all of the useful things, pay my taxes, need to find out information from code.
Dog licenses.
Dog licenses.
Yep.
But at the top, it will link to have kind of like a blog that will be the Berwick Daily. And it will have rotating, always updated, new information coming from all town departments, and also live on its own on the website as a kind of a almost newspaper of sorts with the town information of what's current. But it's a way of keeping the website. I mean, we looked at a lot of design stuff, and Elise is here and can certainly speak to design if this is part of this conversation. But Revise, our town, the company that does our town website, we have a redo built into our contract with them anyway, and I think it's time, regardless, to look at updating the website, which is clunky and does not. It's very difficult to find stuff, and it all looks different, and it's trying to pull it all together. But we also believe that this model, which, to be honest with you, was sort of the direction we were heading in, but we're seeing Rochester is doing this, and they're doing a beautiful job. It's called the Rochester Post. It's an app. It's look up the Rochester Post. It looks like a newspaper, but it's all the town departments with all their information. It's about 3 posts a day, and I think it's a really elegant, forward-thinking way to communicate with the town, and it takes the heat off of all these town departments trying to keep up with Facebook, and posting on Facebook, and responding on Facebook, and brings it back to the town. And this was the struggle for a long time, is trying to figure out what that looked like, and researching what was going to make sense for us. But I think this is a really good step forward.
No, I like it. I think, like I said, I was going to circle back to the website anyways, and I think that's the next step, because I know it's something that I've talked about. I know it's something that when I sat down in Vision Berwick meetings, and I know, Jeremy, when you first came in, we talked about how everything really is. I mean, I moved to Berwick 12 years ago and couldn't navigate anything in the webpage then, and we still haven't updated it. So, I mean, it's still not there, and I think Elise and Maria have both done a lot with trying to get the social media side and the digital side out, and so huge thank you to what you guys do, too. And yeah, I think this is a nice way to try to get all that instead. Like you said, it's the department heads going, is it the official Berwick Post? Is it trying to post something on the unofficial page?
Yeah.
Is it something trying to post something on Rec? Is it trying to post Noble Baseball? Whatever it might be, it's 50 different spots for people looking for information right now. So having one spot would be definitely helpful. Still you, Jeremy.
That's DC.
Jeremy, I
That's
was like, still you.
DCPS.
Three more things.
That's it for
That's it?
DCPS.
Yeah, good.
That's it?
Thank you.
What else we got for miscellaneous?
Public agency?
Public agencies.
Just wrap up miscellaneous real quick. Stormwater engineering, that pays for Christy Rabaska. She's awesome. She helps us keep in compliance with MS4. She's been our stormwater engineer for beyond a decade. That covers miscellaneous. Then transfers really quickly. That's the first page on tab 15. Public fire protection, that's in our PUC.
It's like our last page. Yeah.
Rate case. And 10,000 for contingency. And then really old water department bonds that will be paid off in a couple of years. It covers
It was really old, 30 years.
Yeah. We're at
Yeah.
28 now.
late 90s.
Really?
It's going to be over in 2026, so 2 more years.
30-year bond. People wonder why I take bonds.
Good night. So we go with transfers. Ready to go to public agencies?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we go back to emergency management for a minute? I thought when the fire chief was speaking, he said 10,000.
Yeah, some contingency is 10.
It was 6 last year, but we can go to 10. I mean, I think it'll be put to good use.
Yeah, no, I thought it was 7. I'm
What's
just
in
looking
10?
at it. It says
Yeah, we
8.
just told him 10.
Yeah.
Right, I think we said 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I made a note.
put it to 10.
Over
Okay.
10.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
No, it's so for public agencies, this one's always a little challenging on who gets picked and why.
Oh, yeah.
That's our.
Did Coast Bus give us any updated numbers? Is that what you handed out earlier?
Yep, that's in the packet on the back.
Oh, yeah.
I still think about that meeting that we had with Coast, and just like, basically they were asking, they're like, we're gonna need more money because just the way everything's shaking out. I'm like, okay, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna need like 25% more. I'm like, okay, and like, well, you paid 25 now. It's gonna go up to like 32. I'm like, it doesn't seem like a very big increase in the long scale of an entire town budget of $20 million or whatever. And he was just being he was so timid about it. He just like I'm afraid gonna have to ask. I'm like, ask for as much as you want. The town will either agree or they won't. Like,
Yeah, that's how this works.
yeah, I mean, you know.
Ask for whatever.
Yeah, like we'll put it to a vote, and the town will decide if they want to or not. And if they don't want to, then you don't have to ride your buses here anymore. You know, it's like, that's what it comes down to, really. You know.
Yeah.
But it was like an hour-long meeting for them to be like, we're gonna need like $7,000 more. Like, oh, okay, sure, put it in the budget. We'll put it on the ballot.
Looks like they're actually requesting less from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Noah scared them.
Yeah. No, James scared.
No, he didn't.
James,
24.89%.
well, last year or the year before, we had a couple of food banks that had wanted funding. Do we hear from any of them this year?
No, actually, I don't have any here. I can go through. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 5. One of them's Caring Unlimited.
Do you see where there's a user number?
A what? A user
Our
number?
user number.
Yeah, for Coast. That's what I was looking for. Is how many people are actually using it?
Oh,
From
Coast. We're in Coast. Weekly service miles.
They may not keep track of individual people that way.
Well, how many people do they pick up or drop off here in Berwick?
I don't see that it says, but they probably should. I think they do shipyards sometimes with that.
That's what most of it is. But
Yeah. That is a good question, though.
Just, can we ask them, see if they even document it? I would think when people on board, they have to swipe their card or pay in cash, and they have to have
Yeah.
some sort of record of how many people are using it.
Yeah,
Let's
just
say
so we know.
DR ridership represents the average ADA ridership by originating community.
12.
I feel like they have to have that number because I'm pretty sure it was in that presentation they gave to me and James. So
Yeah, I can get it. I can get it.
I wonder if that number's right, though. Maybe it is 12.
Fixed route ridership?
12 people.
Yeah, that wouldn't be many people, would it, for $32,000?
That's what I'm asking.
Where is it?
Right here. They got 12.
Yeah, 12 people taking it.
Well, I saw the
ADA,
12, but I
this is
thought
right.
that can't be right.
Fixed route ridership. Yeah, 2,113.
Wait, what?
But it's, if you look at the graph,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have the DR ridership, which is ADA, that's 12.
Yeah.
And then over in number 4, fixed
Mhm.
route ridership, 2,113, represents estimates of those riders by originating community
Okay.
at Road Coast Fixed Route Services in fiscal 21 through 23 year to date.
So I guess the question, though, is that the average, or is that the total for those 3 years?
I don't know.
Looks like it's a total.
So,
Maybe
700 riders is different than 12.
isn't that-
Just ADA people that need
Yeah,
meet
it's
qualification.
Yeah.
That's not talking 700 people. It's far different than 12.
Yeah. It's a big difference in 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if those are people that have, like, purchased like an annual pass or a monthly pass. And I wonder if those same people are shipyard people, because the shipyard is asking for,
Generally, the
additional funds for parking.
the park and ride people, they take different shuttle buses, so they actually don't
That are
even.
provided by the shipyard. They have these little mini buses around, or they encourage them to carpool. So you park 3 cars here, get into 1 car, and go to the shipyard.
Yeah.
So this here where it says, how many of, we were saying that some of these numbers may be the shipyard. Well, if that's the shipyard, and they're asking for 32,000 to cover coast, if the majority of the riders are shipyard, where does that play in for the shipyard association? Is that just for the parking lot? That 500?
500 is for the shipyard association.
That does what?
Their mission's to keep the shipyard
Open.
That's,
To lobby Congress to not close it down, I guess?
Well, yeah, but what is it doing for Berwick? Is it, I always assumed it was part of that.
I get an
parking
invite
lot
to
over
the,
there.
to the Commandant's ball in the.
That's
at
right,
Christmas
every
every
year.
But did you
Yeah.
go?
No.
No.
We should have got some of our money back, Noah.
Don't have any time to go. Also, I'm a vegetarian. If I show up, they'll be like,
Oh,
it's
so
not,
am I.
nothing
That's
for
weird.
you. Sorry.
The last 2
Both
years,
of us
the
are
event has been
vegetarian,
on meeting nights.
Oh, yeah. I haven't even looked at it. I get the invitation, I'm like, oh, what a nice card. And then it ends up on the floor of my car.
I'd like to know if and just pure curiosity, if they do break it down to how the ridership here, is the 2113, is that fixed people who actually pay for a pass, like a monthly pass or an annual pass, or is that their people just buying a ticket or getting on once in a while and that's their total? Is there a way to know how many people, got on right out here in front of the town hall?
I know.
And maybe they don't have a
It
way
is
to
a
know
lot of
that.
money.
I think they probably do.
They must
Yeah,
know.
well,
They just don't
just-
want to tell us, right?
Yeah, just reach out and just see if you can get the numbers.
All right.
We're not gonna change anything here, but just
Right.
just for our own edification later down the line.
Yeah. Domestic violence.
Is that Caring Unlimited?
Yeah.
So they serve 22 individuals. And the cost of caring, $28,981. So my thought process was, it'd be hard to fully fund Coast Bus and not fund Caring Unlimited. I mean, we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I just.
Absolutely. That would be crazy. Yeah.
I don't know if there's an upper limit the board wants to set. We or probably should have some methodology to help
Yeah.
these types of decisions.
There should be a max amount that
Did
needs
we
to be
fund them
divided
last
up.
year?
We did not.
No.
Just carrying do anybody know of the program?
I know someone that my wife actually used Caring Unlimited after she had an issue when she was younger, and
Good program.
it was there for her. Yeah.
It's used widely throughout York County, especially in some of the
She's
smaller
watching at
towns.
home. I'm sorry for mentioning you personally, but
The,
should be in bed by now, anyways.
So that one's, and plus it with 22, it helped 22 of our residents.
I mean, if you think about the
Cornerstone
ratio
View.
for that compared to the ratio of ridership for the Coast Bus.
I know, right? They should get a lot more money. Yeah.
What Pope Memorial Humane Society, they're there for our animal control. So I think they're pretty essential to our day-to-day operations.
Are they the ones that do Berwick's animal control?
They work with our animal control officer. So if we need assistance with a pet, they've been our go-to.
Okay.
Assistance with an animal issue that they can help out with.
James, you were saying about the food banks, that there's 5 of them, but they didn't apply for any funding, or did they? They just didn't request any.
No.
Last year, York County wanted like $45,000 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we had 2 last year.
So this totals up.
I mean, it would be good to help, to make sure that we're helping Berwick residents.
Total.
What did we do last year?
Which one?
For which one?
Just in general. Because we kind of lumped it all into one thing.
Yeah, we did.
Last year was 31,260. Oh, excuse me. It was 32,460.
32.
It's about a $7,000 increase, which pretty much,
Oh, which one is the 7,000 increase?
no,
No,
23,
total. I'm
it was
looking at it, I got it.
32,460.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just
okay,
totaled
so
up
it's-
these, it's 39,385.
So do we want to add in Caring Unlimited?
Yeah, I do.
I'd be okay with that.
Are you?
All right, so we can add that in for their requested support amount. I think is appropriate.
And James, the Cornerstone VNA,
That's right.
they've asked for 6,360, you're recommending 5,000. Is that based on numbers you've seen?
No, he recommended.
They're
putting
just
the 63.
flat funding it, just as a
What?
starting point.
No, they,
Oh, yeah. He recommended doing the whole thing. Last year we only did 5,000.
Oh,
no, town manager, are you looking at this new one?
Oh, jeez.
yeah, you don't have the latest, Mike.
Nope, I didn't look all the way over. I got you.
So James, I'm sorry, what did you say?
The 5,000 would be just flat funding it.
I think that's what we
last year
did
they
last year
actually
too.
requested like 9,000.
I think they asked for more last year too, and we said 5 was
Right.
good.
Okay. So,
It was just
yeah.
what they had presented was like how many residents actually used the program
Correct.
and things like that. And
Right.
couldn't get to 9.
And the Shipyard Association is something that, I mean, predates. Been doing it for a while.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious is if it, I'd like more explanation as to what that is. Is it the parking? Is it the?
Oh, I know. It's got very little or nothing to do with the parking. Let's see. The Shipyard Association is a nonprofit organization of individuals, businesses, and communities dedicated to the continued existence of the shipyard and maximizing opportunities for its growth as a center of excellence in marine development. And it just goes into how they promote the expansion of the shipyard.
The only pay for those things was with the taxes that keep the
Yeah.
shipyard open.
Yeah, kind of what I thought.
I say no, it doesn't get into meal next year.
I mean, but it is also an innocuous amount as well. It's hard to.
I don't know. I'd like to know a better idea of where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah, it isn't that much, but
It's enough to pay for somebody to go out there and get donations. Is what it is. It's a self-recurring position. You go out, you
Yeah.
get donations from towns, and you fund your own position, and that's your job is to go get funding from towns.
yeah, right.
basically.
And the Coast Bus, they're asking for 32,172, and you're recommending 29. You just split the difference. Is that what you did of the increase?
I was kind of, I mean, this is just to get the ball rolling on discussions. I was thinking maybe take some of that, Carrigan Limited money, fund them, and then kind of reallocate. And it is kind of meeting them in the middle.
As I recall, like the way that what they had said was like the way their funding breaks down is it's not on our schedule also.
Yeah.
So like our budget starts in July and goes through June and everything like that, but like theirs is like November or January or whatever. So like their increase wouldn't be the same as like it wouldn't come out to be exactly the right level as well. Weird like that.
Okay. So that would bring us under 40 for total, which is about a $7,000 increase from last year.
Oh, so you guys are keeping some of these still on the table? Really? I thought we had taken one off, a couple off.
Which one did you think came off?
I thought Coast. I mean, I thought we were going to try to get some numbers. Didn't seem like they were.
Oh, yeah. No, this is only the presentation. We're not approving it.
Eight cats, 3 dogs, 3 guinea pigs, 1 rabbit, a hamster, and a rat.
For what?
From Berwick.
Oh. Okay.
From the Humane Society.
Got it.
I guess
All right.
teachers are going to
I
send
think,
monitors this year.
I think, James, pending getting more information on those two things, I'm
Yeah, I'm okay with that as a preliminary number.
Okay, yeah, I can come back with info. Okay, that's public agencies. Last, and certainly not least, is capital improvements.
I think we're getting losing ourselves here.
Is that out of order?
There's another change.
Oh, the beginning. Oh, I lost my changes.
I could just
There it is.
go go through it.
Go ahead, James.
So, from the first cut, had to reduce some things. Just make sure we're staying in line with the actual spendable fund balance. So I'll just go through for fire. The aerial replacement, we're saving to replace a truck. So we've been doing that for the past couple of years. And this is a pretty typical request from fire to replace equipment as it's needed. The CAC's DOT match, that just goes to grants. It's help match grants. So typically we can go out. Some grants, typically they're 20%, sometimes they're 10% matches. With the police, we're trying to move towards vehicle outright purchasing rather than leasing. So this will be the first year where we outright purchase a cruiser. Similar to fire, there's allowance there for equipment and then to upgrade their security system. For Public Works, combining $500,000 from undesignated fund balance and $300,000 from the taxpayers. So it'll be $800,000 again for roads.
So we're not going up at all from last year?
It is up. I believe it was
What did we do last year?
250.
But what was the total last
Oh,
year?
the total was 800. So that is the same as last year.
Okay.
We're budgeting the same, but we're
Taking it from
less
different spots.
undesignated funds that actually
Yeah,
look like
exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Fuel control and pump, those are for the fueling stations at Public Works. There's some equipment there that's trending towards becoming obsolete. And CIP funding for Memorial Field. On the back page has a breakdown of Memorial Field projects, including what we have left for this fiscal year. We have impact fees that will continue to come in. So for this fiscal year, it's paving the tennis pickleball court, basketball court, striping them, soundproofing on the fencing itself, and then fence improvements, ADA fence improvements for the Sweetser Street entrance, and then adding an emergency gate access on the Sullivan Street side. And for fiscal year 25, we need to run electrical properly to both school boards, get some LED lights installed, work on a design for the Memorial Field building, which would be a new building. And the goal would be to get a design and concept down, and then go after some grants for a new building. So there's funding in there to start the establishment of a walking circuit. So this try to lay some gravel down and start. There's a proposed circuit for
So
around.
none of these projects here for 25 have been done. So when we were talking to Rec These are still outstanding, but do they intend to be done
No, that's next year.
into 2025
Yeah.
budget, right?
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is that, like, curbing around the playground area and things like that,
Yeah, that'd be so that'd be
after July.
after July, yep. And then the above the line here, so the paving and all that, we
Yeah.
have money for that now, and that'll be ready to go as soon as we can do it.
Okay. So the splash pad and the curbing and all that is designated to be done before the end of this summer, this year?
No, the splash pad will not be done this summer. We're just trying to take a next step to help establish it. So we need to do with like the basketball court.
Yep.
So there's the basketball court. We have to put a retaining wall at the end of that basketball court to make
Okay.
room for the splash pad. And then we need to hook, so there's 2 drain lines we need to run to the drainage we already put in. So the infrastructure is ready to go, we just have to tie into it. And then there's like concrete pad. So that alone, we're probably already into over 25 grand. So we're just trying to do some of the next steps to put us in a better position to be ready to install a splash pad.
Okay.
Going back to the other page, transfer station, building reserve fund, then town hall, the clock tower, the railing around the clock tower is rotted, so that needs to be replaced. Masonry restoration and waterproofing, a new security system for town hall. And then savings for the replacement of our front steps, and then some money for bathroom improvements.
When you say savings, you mean you're going to set aside the money?
Yep.
And it's not going to be for this year, but for a future year.
Right. The idea would be saved for 5 years.
That's just a little confusing because this is coming out of the undesignated fund. So you're taking money out of the undesignated fund, essentially putting it into a savings account separate, so that in 3 to 5 years you'll have enough money to redo the steps, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just assigning it.
Okay. So okay. Yeah. I mean, it seems weird to take money out of undesignated funds to keep it undesignated. Well, I mean, I guess you're designating it but not spending it. It just seems
It's
like
only done on paper.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's confusing because you're not really doing anything. The money's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's just being moved around, shuffled. So.
Do you know if, because I know this is the first year we're buying a vehicle outright for the police department. Do you know if looking forward, if Chief Town's going to try to put like 15 grand, 20 grand aside in each year so that like when he needs a new cruiser and he needs something, that money's already there, so then it's just $15,000 a hit each year versus coming up with 90 grand?
He did talk about that. However, right now we purchase one vehicle 1 year, 2 vehicles in the next year. So
Correct.
to keep up with that cycle, we really have to continue to replace these vehicles at that rate.
That's fine. I mean, I'm all for him paying it outright because it's going to save, again, it's saving us money long term versus leasing it. But at some point, trying to net that down a little bit so it's not going to be.
You could probably do like the same amount or close to the same, average it over the 3 vehicles over 2 years and have it the same amount each year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all I'm getting at, because we're going to end up saving money by not leasing them,
Right.
and just buying them out. So I'm just keeping him going. Okay, if we keep putting that money in, even if we're paying you know, less as it goes, and it's just going to become that amount.
That covers capital improvements.
Yeah, that's all of them.
We did it.
That's all of them tonight.
We did it. We may have put Betsy to sleep, though. I don't know.
Everybody else is done.
So we might have
Okay,
put Betsy to sleep.
so, unless there's any other questions on the budget, we're going to come out of recess, go into executive session, and everybody has to leave for that.
You don't think Lisa could read that list of animals one more time before we go? And two gerbils.
Because I made
or
fun of
whatever.
Mike for a short.